Good morning, everybody. I have decided to make one of my rare videos. I got a few things to say about what has transpired over the weekend, and I'm going to spare you all my sleep-deprived face. So, as some of you know, Affective Dog Behavior has put on a webinar about learned helplessness and the neurobiology behind it. The research in that has been done by no other than Meyer and Seligman. Meyer has become a neuroscientist and has increasingly become more curious about finding the neurocircuitry for learned helplessness, and he finally succeeded in that. Seligman, on the other hand, when those two split up, when they each went their own way, Seligman focused more on the human aspect of learned helplessness and depression, and even started what is known as positive psychology. So in 2016, these two amazing researchers have gotten back together and wrote another research paper. It was peer-reviewed, and it was quite detailed, and it included the neurobiology of learned helplessness, how it evolved, how the research evolved from the 1960s to 2016. And it also included some of Seligman's work. It was a really good, very, very educational and enlightening article. Based on that article, we, as the training community, dog training community world, have a totally wrong understanding of learned helplessness. And affective dog behavior has made it its job to find the science behind the labels that we use, to find the science that helps us understand the canine mind better, that helps us understand certain behaviors better. And once we find that science, we start educating on it. Learned helplessness. It is one of the center pieces of the R+ and force-free community, and I totally get it. The claim that was made that learned helplessness, the original theories of learned helplessness had it backwards, that learned helplessness is not learned. That claim did not come from us. That is not our claim. The research did not come from us. It came from the original researchers of learned helplessness, from Meyer and Seligman. Now, the reception in the R+ and force-free community was not very good. The force-free community and the R+ community are not very open to new research. I'm ashamed to say that. People, guys, we need to do better on that. We need to do better on that, because for the simple reason that as long as we are holding on to old research, especially research that has been, for lack of a better word, debunked, where we have better data, better information available, we need to stay on top of that. Because otherwise we are not better than a specific TV personality who keeps hanging on the debunked theory of a dominance or alpha hierarchy. We criticize those people, yet we follow the same path where we deny new research. That is not acceptable. As long as we keep doing that, people who use aversive methods and aversive tools will stick around, because we don't even know, we don't even acknowledge the science that's out there. That's a dangerous game to play. We need to stay ahead of it, and we need to be truthful when we talk to our clients. Learned helplessness is very specific. They have located a specific circuit in the brain. They have been able to trace the process, the internal process of learned helplessness and of escape, when escape is possible, when escape is an option, when the animal has learned that escape is an option. It's a very specific circuit in the brain. Any other forms of depression or passivity, they may still involve this circuit as well, but they probably, most likely, involve other circuits on top of this one. But learned helplessness, what they have researched in the 1960s, is they are very specific on this. But nothing in the brain is simple, which makes it much more interesting. Nothing in the brain is simple, and who wants simple anyway? So when it comes to trauma and stress, there's a lot more that plays into it. But when we talk about learned helplessness and we are explaining that to clients, we need to be truthful about that. And we need to understand it. We need to understand it. So this past weekend, ADB, and especially myself, has gotten under a lot of attack over this on Facebook. It has gotten quite ugly. Again, this is another thing that should not be acceptable. Not in a profession that is already so darn divided. That's really shameful. We should be, in the OR+ and force-free community, we should be working together to look at the latest science. That's what effective dog behavior was put in place for. We find the science and we educate. What Meyer and Seligman have written down in 2016, that was not my work. I'm not a researcher, I'm not a scientist. Oh, yes, we were told that we are not qualified to teach neurobiology. Well, the people that make those kind of claims don't even know our qualifications. Anybody interested in neurobiology and neuroscience can educate themselves. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the basics of the brain, even deeper than the basics. Yes, it can get too deep. It can get extremely complicated. It is a step-by-step learning process. So, are we qualified to teach this? Well, yeah, of course we are. Of course we are. I would never touch something that I don't understand. I spend day in, day out learning about this stuff. and educating myself so that I don't pass something on that is not correct, that does not reflect the science. Scott does the same thing. A degree, initials behind your name, do not make you any more knowledgeable. Education makes you more knowledgeable. There's a huge difference between a degree and education. Lucy, out. Come on. Thank you. So, back to this past weekend. The attacks got personal. People have attacked me on a personal level who don't even know me, who don't even know my name. I guess that's Facebook for you. Luckily, I'm above that because I just consider the source. However, it's shameful. It's very shameful. Not for me. Because I did read the research article. I do understand the research article. A lot of times people might peek into that. They see how in-depth it is, and how detailed it is, how technical it is. They put it back, they put it away because they can't really read it because they don't understand it, and come to the conclusion that it's best to attack someone else because someone else who doesn't have a PhD in this couldn't possibly understand it either. That's pretty lousy, if you ask me. As long as this attitude exists, you know, people that don't understand research and stuff, yes, they will always act that way because it's their own defense mechanism. It helps them feel better about themselves. It helps them stoke their own egos. But then there are people that are owning very successful Facebook groups, pages. They're leading those groups. And they are very accepting of this attitude. That's the part that is not personally hurtful, but hurtful for the industry. It's hurtful for the industry. We are all in this for one specific reason, and that is to help people and their dogs. We need to work together, guys. Now, somebody put out their false claim that we claimed that learned helplessness is not real. What? And that circulated really fast. The funny thing is, it circulated a lot faster than the fact that we were putting on a really, really good webinar. So people are so much quicker to criticize and to judge and to put others down than they are to learn something. Aren't we in this to learn something? Now, you're not hurting me personally. Again, I consider the source, but you're hurting the industry. And I want you to think about that. You're hurting the industry. And I can promise you already, this was not the only controversial idea, the only controversial piece of science that will come out of affective dog behavior. A lot of things we say and do are controversial because the R+ community and the force-free community have been stuck. They have been stuck 50 years ago with Skinner. And they pick and choose the science that suits them rather than the science that is there. the signs that might suit our relationship with the dogs, in the dog's way. We're so focused on always being positive with our dogs, so focused on always being positive, focused on creating this perfect little world for our dogs. And because nothing is ever 100% positive, people are starting to turn against each other, just like they did this past weekend. They see something that they don't understand, and instead of learning about it, they attack the messenger. Now, I'm not personally upset over it because I do understand the brain. I understand where it's coming from. I'm just hoping that if you're listening to this, open your mind to learning. Some of you are already members of ADB. We welcome you to participate in the discussions. This is not a competition, you know, this is not a race to be the best, to be the first, or anything. This is about the dogs. This is about community. This is about coming together. This is about what we hope to accomplish with our dogs, is a good relationship. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let you guys go, and hopefully you guys think about this and start being more open-minded, more welcome of science. Please. Please. Otherwise, the aversive groups will win. You'll have a good day. Bye.